What's going on, everyone? We are back here for episode 4 of Upstate Talks. Sorry for the delay. I know this is coming out 2 weeks later than we expected. I got sick. We had a couple scheduling problems, but we're back here. We have a great episode to talk about. No NBA finals to talk about, but we got the NBA draft coming up tomorrow, so we're gonna dive into that. Some trade talks, the LiV golf, talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about a little U.S. Open that ended last weekend. Really great tournament. So sit back, enjoy. Me and Dell are gonna talk for however long seems fit, but we're excited to get back and get this Upstate Talks coming out. We're gonna stick to the Wednesday night, Thursday schedule. So sit back, enjoy, and let's jump right in.
Yeah, a little refreshing. Kind of rolling these out. NBA playoffs being over, so not really kind of beating the dead horse with the NBA finals. I have to toot my own horn, saying my prediction was right. I had Warriors in six in the finals prediction. Kind of nailed that one on the coffin. So I do enjoy kind of getting the upper hand on Reoz from time to time, but yeah, no, cool finals. Appreciate NBA putting on a dope show for us. The playoff was awesome throughout the entire of the playoffs. Really cool. Some superstars emerged throughout the course of the playoffs, and as we dive into the NBA free agency, we already had two trades go down. With Christian Woods now joining the Mavericks, and Jeremy Grant just got traded for a first round pick from Detroit to Portland. Now they're trying to bring in some help for Dame. So yeah, some cool stuff already unrolling, and I think that there's gonna be maybe one or two more trades before draft night. So, yeah, you guys are probably watching this on Thursday morning, afternoon. So the draft is gonna be right around the corner. So, Riaz, I'm curious if you think who's your like kind of early mock these top three guys between Banchero, Holmgren, and Jabari Smith. Where do you think they're gonna land?
I really like that the Magic have the first pick. I mean, they could really go anywhere here. Um, I'm not even Banjero, the Duke guy. I mean, he's just incredible. I remember watching March Madness just as a Syracuse fan, being in upstate in New York. I mean, I watched a ton of Duke games, and you watch him play, and all of a sudden you look at the stats, and you're like, how in the world is he like close to a triple double? I mean, he's just so effortless out there, and he's an incredible player. And obviously, Jabari Smith is a guy you really can't turn away. He's a special talent. I mean, he kind of gives you that vibe that Michael Porter Jr. had early on before his back kept him out. He just seems like he's just going to be a star in this league. I mean, big guy, shoots the three ball very well, can get to the hole. I really couldn't tell you who the Magic are going to go with. I think it's going to be paired whatever his name is from Duke. But I wouldn't be shocked if Javari Smith was the number one pick. I mean, the consensus seems like he's a lock to go to the Magic.
Yeah, if I had to rate the three guys, I'd look at it and say, Banchero, he's probably got the highest, superstar potential. I'd say, out of the draft. I feel like he's probably, I'd say between him and Jabari in terms of like the safest picks. But you never know what you're gonna get out of Chet Holmgren. I mean, the season he had in Gonzaga, absolutely phenomenal. Can block shots. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily look like he has that NBA body, but the way he plays, he's so hard, he's so tough. Um, it's tough to kind of pass up on it like a guy that has the potential to be like a generational type talent. So this is a really good draft. I mean, a lot of people have the Magic as like I'm not even lying like a dark horse playing team next year, a team that feels like they have the pieces, they have talent, maybe one move away from maybe kind of pushing that 10th seed in a tough Eastern Conference, but they have a ton of pieces, man. And I feel like as they get more seasoned, you fit pieces in like Markel Fultz and Jonathan Isaac. I don't. I feel like the Bamba experiment is kind of gone. I feel like if I was the Magic, I would take Chet. In terms of like you already have a ton of solid pieces. I kind of swing for the fences here on someone like Chet. Mo Bamba's kind of not what you need at the center position. Definitely a guy that can be in the rotation, but as a starting center, has shown flashes, improvements. Obviously, Wendell Carter Jr. is a fantastic player. He's been, really kind of had a, career season for his for his liking. But I'd probably take a swing at Chet. Jabari's kind of like the guy that feels like he's gonna have like probably the longest NBA career out of these guys. He's super young, gonna keep improvement. He's improved, throughout the course of the NCAA season like crazy. Tremendous jump shot. Can create his own space. Almost reminds me of like a Trevor Ariza, a guy that's just gonna have a long career, knock down shots, plays hard, can fit into really any system. And then, like I said, with Banchero, kind of superstar, upside and talent. So I'd probably say if I was the Magic GM, I'd take Chet. But the way it rolls out, I say they go Jabari, Thunder take Chet, and then the Rockets take Banchero.
I tell you what, I think that would be a bad move if they took Chet number one. I really like that 1-2 punch with Wendell Carter and Bamba down low. I think they both feed well off each other. Wendell Carter is definitely way more consistent. Bamba's been in foul trouble. I mean, we were doing NBA every single day, so uh, I mean, those were my two guys I targeted so early on. I couldn't fade that Magic duo. I mean,
They
that they were
were.
my favorite two plays. Every single week, I felt like I was just beating a dead horse, talking about them over and over again. But Mo Bamba, I mean, he had huge games. I mean, he was dropping 20 and 10. It seemed like every other night. But that injury, I forgot what he had. I mean, it's been so far. It really hasn't been so far since regular season NBA, but I mean, after he got hurt, he just couldn't find steady play. I mean, he was only playing 20, 18 minutes a game, but um, it's kind of crazy to think. I mean, with the play in games, this Magic team really is one good draft pick away from sneaking in.
Yeah, and I'd say that Jabari is probably the most like plug and play NBA ready prospect. Like you're gonna plug him in. He's gonna fit really well into the system. He can be a front court player. I'd imagine you probably stick him at the power forward, as kind of like a versatile wing there that can defend. Hopefully becomes a really versatile defender and kind of punch you'd have to punch one of those two guys to the bench at some point between, when you get Fultz back. Isaac's going to have to play. Isaac's tremendous. He doesn't get enough credit. When Isaac comes back, he's going to play. And that's why I look at the Chet pick is just like, you got a guy that can play at the five. You kind of get rid of the Bamba Wendell experiment. And you're like, we're not very good. Let's shake it up here. We got a ton of guards between Fultz and, Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony and Wagner. And you got a lot of guards. Like your backcourt's fine. And someone, between all these players are, Pincaro can probably slide in at the three in some lineups, but most of these guys, going to plug in at the four. So it's going to be an interesting draft for sure. I mean, you go down the list between, Jaden Ivey, Shaden Sharp, and stuff like that. I think he's going to be really good. Ivy, we'll see what the Kings do. The Kings might trade out of that four spot, potentially see someone like Atlanta trade up to number four. Um, you know, there could be some draft moves there. I could definitely see, the Cleveland Cavaliers sliding back a little bit, trying to get a little bit more pieces around, their core as they're bringing in, possibly an all-star level talent and Colin Sexton, a guy that can score the ball like crazy. He's coming back into the lineup. So, I don't know, man. It's going to be a very interesting draft. So I'm really excited to see what these teams do.
I think this is a really stacked draft just in general. I think there's a ton of talent throughout even the late second round. I feel like there's a ton of talent through and through in this draft. I mean, as a Spurs fan, having three first round picks is super excited, and I love the one thing about the NBA draft is they just knock it out in a night. Like
Yeah,
we
that's
don't
also
have
the
to
best part.
wait. We don't have to wait like the NFL draft is like 7 days long. It seems like, even though I believe it's only four, but just one full night of the NBA draft. I'm really excited for it, especially being big NBA fans like we are. I mean, uh, the NBA draft is just it's a great watch, and especially with only baseball going on. There's no other sports. I mean, the NHL yeah, the Stanley Cup Finals. I believe it's Game Four is tonight. So there's only going to be MLB and the NBA draft. So I would highly recommend turning in and watching this draft.
I know it's the girlfriend's birthday tomorrow, so I doubt she tunes in to watch the podcast. But we got dinner reservations at 6:15. I'm just stuffing that food down, trying to get home and catch the draft. So it's gonna, she's gonna be real pissed when I'm driving home. I got it on the aux that I'm just, I'm Bluetoothing the draft on the phone. Oh, it's gonna be
Sitting
something.
at dinner with the phone up, you're like, I just got to watch these first three picks, and
I got,
then
yeah, I'd be like, oh, I got odds at check going one. I mean, I'm curious to see what like the odds are. I don't know if anyone's really has those up. You probably have to like Google search them, but I'm curious to get to that. Um, what those odds are too. Because it's
I
definitely gonna
know
be.
Javari is minus. He's minus like 185 to go number one.
Yeah, Jabari Smith. Like I said, dude, he definitely can, and I think a lot of mocks have him there. So, um, we'll see, man. It's great draft, great draft. And some other things, man. NBA free agencies here. I'm curious on what you think on teams like the Blazers. How they bring in other pieces, or teams like the Utah Jazz. How they if you're curious on how they're gonna shake things up, or what do you feel about this situation? I mean, people like Kyrie Irving, reportedly unhappy, could leave teams. Clippers are interested in him. The New York Knicks are interested in him. Everyone brings up the Lakers and potential trades, but I doubt that. So where do you go about this NBA free agency?
Well, I told you a couple days ago this free agency is going to be crazy, and you didn't believe me. You said a couple guys are going to move,
See, I don't,
but
I don't, I don't know, man. It's just like Beal declined his player option, but he declined the player option. He could easily resign with Washington next week for 240,000. I mean, 240 million max. So it's like people like the narrative, like people get real hype about things. I think what you're gonna see is a lot of moving parts, like the Miles Turners, the T.J. Warrens, the DeAndre Aytons. You know what I'm saying? Like the all-star potential caliber level. Like they're not all-stars, but they're just a tier under. A lot of those pieces moving teams. Um, that's what I'm gonna see. I think in this free agency, not the studs.
yeah, I don't think we're going to see like a superstar really shake it up. Like, I mean, if Kyrie goes anywhere, you know he's going to go to a contender. There's no doubt about that. At this point of his career, um, having such a bad season and dealing with all the COVID stuff and not being able to play at home and all that, I mean, I would see why he would want to get out of Brooklyn. I'm sure just all of that is just a really bad season. And but I think there's going to be a lot of key guys that are going to make a ton of teams. I mean, we already saw Christian Wood going over to Dallas. I think that's a huge move for them. We talked about it the whole entire playoffs and the whole regular season, how bad their center position was. I mean, having Powell, having I can't even think of his name.
Kleber.
Kleber, yeah. I mean, adding Christian Wood, who can easily get you 20 and 10 and help out Jalen Brunson, help out Luca, is just that's a huge move for them. And I don't think that Jeremy Grant, as a Syracuse fan, I mean, it's nice to see him go and play for Portland and get. I don't even know. I feel like he probably should have played. He should have stayed for Detroit. Detroit seems like almost a better fit than Portland, but I think there's going to be a ton of key role guys that get moved around. I think a couple I'm just waiting to see what Bradley Beal does. John Wall's definitely going to get moved. I'd be shocked if he's still on Houston by the end of the summer. He's definitely has to get moved without a doubt. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a blockbuster trade with Russell going somewhere with John Wall going to the Lakers. I mean, him and LeBron have the same agent.
And that's what I was gonna bring up. I do feel like that's pretty much like the only move from Russ. I mean, and I honestly see Russ goes to Houston and they might just sit him. Like they might just sit him for the year and just say we had just got too many young guys. Like you just kind of don't fit here, and just kind of
Well,
sit him.
I don't think he's gonna end up in Houston. I bet it's gonna be like a 3 or 4 team trade. That there's gonna be a ton of moving parts. I mean, I bet Houston walks away with a ton of draft picks. I'm sure they'll lose some young guy that everyone's gonna. They'll probably who's their rookie that they just got.
Jalen.
They'll probably lose Kevin Porter Jr. I bet he gets traded in some move, but
See, I don't see that.
there's
I
going to
like
be
the
a big
Rockets core.
trade.
I like the Rockets core. I think John Wall's value is minimal. I think he's the most overpaid player in the league. Coming from a dude who loved those Washington teams. I just think that at this point, hasn't played, injury history. I mean, do you even give up? What do you give up for him? Like a 2027 first. and some
No, I
stuff.
think you still give up. I think John Wall's got a ton of potential. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 years now.
Yeah,
I
as a
mean, he's
31
got
year
a
old guard who relied on speed, can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure where he's gonna be gone, like you said, and we'll see where he
yeah, they're gonna
lands.
move him. But I also think Russell Wilson Russell Wilson. I'm thinking of my Broncos. Russell Westbrook actually plays better in a team where he's not the second or third option. He needs to be the guy that goes out and gets a triple double, scores 35 points. He would probably thrive on that Rockets team.
Yeah, I mean, and there is a narrative and to where Jalen Green, gets a little better, and he is going to get better, but, plays a little better alongside Westbrook. We've seen guys like a Victor Oladipo play pretty decent alongside Westbrook, and, things like that along Westbrook. It's not complete, you know, toxic when, in a Westbrook system, I guess. But we'll see, man. I mean, I guess it's just a ton of money going around. He's on the last year of his deal. I could definitely see the Rockets, maybe taking him, and if they do play him, I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good offseason for the NBA. And I mean, I'm just excited for NBA to come back and see all the new guys and all the rookies, all the new faces on different teams. I think it's going to be a pretty crazy summer. But to talk about golf and how crazy this summer has been with the LiV kicking off and Charles Schwartzel winning the first one, banking $4.7 million, and we just saw a big name leave the PGA Tour to go over to the LiV. Is Brooks Koepka. I mean, the whole entire time we saw all the clips on Twitter during the press conference for the oh my gosh, the U.S. Open. He said, "I don't know why everyone's putting a dark cloud on this. You're really just making the U.S. Open taking a back seat to the LiV." And after the U.S. Open, he made the cut, but he played very poorly on the weekend. And I'm not shocked his brother Chase is already playing on the LiV, but and his good buddy Dustin Johnson, and we saw a ton of guys already leave to go to the LiV. But Brooks Koepka is known to be a guy that truthfully doesn't like golf. He doesn't like playing in a ton of tournaments. He only likes playing in the Masters. He said publicly he basically blacks out and tunes right out from 5 to 12 and could really care less what he shoots. So he doesn't practice and now playing 54 holes, shotgun star at 2 o'clock and playing 7 tournaments a year. I think this fits Brooks Koepka perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, you get other stars in there too, like DJ and Mickelson and a couple other guys. What's his name? Lewis or what's his name? There's a couple other guys that are in there that are like
Yeah, I mean Patrick Reed just left.
Reed. Okay.
Bryson DeChambeau left. He's joining. Um, I mean Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood, um,
So I mean,
Kevin Na.
there's a lot of news, structured around LiV. If you're unfamiliar with LiV compared to the PGA Tour, I mean, you got your European Tour and your American Tour, which is PGA. That's like the two biggest tours, kind of in the world. And then LiV is kind of stepping in as this like Saudi Arabian based tour. Like Reoz said, shotgun start. Less holes than with PGA, and these guys are getting substantially more money. So. If you look into kind of like the politic news side of things, Saudi Arabia, I guess, is trying to kind of back themselves to kind of get a better image on the rest of the world, and then kind of using golf to kind of, I guess, do that in a way. I mean, there's a lot of like civil rights things going on in the country, and how there was some murder that they did to some politician over there, and it was the huge scandal that the government did. I mean, a lot of people are treated poorly over there, and women and whatnot. And I think they're almost in a way trying to cover this all up with golf. And stars that are playing on LiV have came out and said, in a way, they really don't care. I mean, they play golf for a living, and they're kind of looking past that and just realistically kind of getting the bag. I mean, they're paying out, I believe it's $4 million just on this tournament alone, when the Masters pays you just roughly $2.5 million, and that's golf's biggest event of the year in the PGA Tour. So, for a tournament that they're doing, they're paying out 4 million. It's a little bit crazy, and I understand the money's substantial, and I see why these stars are going. But I understand people that want sports and politics to be connected. But in a way, in 2022, I guess they kind of are, and it comes about every now and then. So I guess people are sort of looking down on these guys, and you guys dudes that are still in the PGA, like Patrick Cantlay and Rory, are still in the PGA, and they're backing PGA as not necessarily a better business, but I guess they understand all the things going on in Saudi Arabia, and they just don't want to be a part of it. So
The strange thing to me is they're they're playing in the United States. I mean, in a couple of weeks they go to New Jersey, they go to Chicago, they go to California. So it is kind of crazy that it's the Saudi Arabia League and ran by Greg Norman, who I mean had 20 career wins on the PGA Tour. We saw after Rory won the Canadian Open, gave a little after 62, he said, "Oh, one more than Greg Norman." So I mean, he's got 21 now. But I mean, Matthew Fitzpatrick just won the U.S. Open, and he just won a major and netted 3.1 million. And like you said, I mean, they're getting just for an average tournament, 4 point something $1 million. So it is crazy for that, and it's nice for it's nice for the game of golf to allow guys that don't really place well at the PGA Tour to be able to go over to the LiV and make good money. I mean, you can come in dead last and still make $100,000 in 3 days. So
exactly.
it's nice for as a big golf fan. I think it is good just for the game to allow more tournaments. I don't like the ban that the commissioner for the PGA came out and said lifetime banned if you're going to go over and play for the LiV. I don't think that makes any sense. But the nice thing about it is the PGA Tour has no effect on the majors. Anybody who qualifies or is invited or past champion can play in any of the majors. That will never change. I know he's trying to get it where he has full control over it, but you'll never see the Masters have not full control over it, and all of the majors, especially the British Open, which I'm pretty pumped about in a couple of weeks at St. Andrews at the Old Course. So, I mean, that's going to be one hell of a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it, and with politics aside, I mean, competition's good. In the football side of things with the XFL and the USFL, competition's very good. And you see USFL doing cool things, which is, puts a little extra, narrative to the XFL to do better. So competition's good, man. And I think at the end of this, if LiV decides to, not work out, or maybe becomes the next big thing, maybe the PGA Tour starts doing like the NBA route or the NFL route, and just starts giving out guaranteed contracts to these players. With guaranteed money, and maybe you see something like that. What could change the face of of PGA, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, the only problem with that is just golf is just a tradition. It's always just so delayed and catching up to real time. So
Exactly.
that's why I think the PGA Tour is kind of threatened by LiV because I mean it's I don't know progressive. They're doing more things and making the game of golf faster, better to watch. I mean, you go to a PGA event, you show up at 8 o'clock. Everyone's I mean you got the first wave of the morning and the afternoon. I mean you're walking all day long trying to follow people, but at the LiV, I mean everyone that's playing in the tournament tees off at 2. I think that will change if more people start to join that. I don't
Yep.
know how you're if you have a hundred guys playing um, to shotgun it. They're gonna have to do regular tee times, regular tournament starts. I mean, it would be almost impossible. I mean, you'd be doubled up on every single hole. It'd be an absolute disaster, especially shotgun at 2. I
Yeah.
mean, it starts getting dark at 9.
Well, everyone is just so much of like a personality now. I mean, between social media and everything like that. I mean, these golfers look at themselves as like almost independent contractors in a way, in the sense that like they can kind of build their own brand no matter where they go. Like they don't need the PGA Tour to become this like superstar anymore. Like they can get their money from so many other outlets, and it's like if this place is gonna pay me substantially more, and it's gonna be easier on my body, as players, kind of complain as things get into like the fall time on the PGA Tour, about the longevity and stuff like that, and the length of it. It's just the way the LiV is set up, it just seems so ideal for a lot of these players and these young guys.
Yeah, you're almost getting. I mean, the first tournament for the LiV was almost 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, so you're getting a good break. And like you said when we talked earlier, it's kind of nice that it's golf has always been just a solo person. You're out there playing against the field, besides like the Ryder Cup and everything like that. But uh, the LiV sets it up where you do have a team. So uh, yeah, Charles Schwartzel won, but his team also won and banked a couple more bucks for their pockets with him winning and the rest of his team shooting pretty well. So it is nice to kind of. I mean, the names are awful. The logos are awful for the teams. I don't know
Yeah, they are.
if you
I
looked
peeped
at
them.
it. It's
Yeah,
like
I did.
the aces, the three of spades or something.
Flaming balls and
Yeah, it's
fucking
awful.
yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what they could do. I don't even know, but
It'll progress. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, but it is exciting, and it also gives you more golf to watch. I mean, uh, big prize picks, big player prop stuff. I mean, they have that over on prize picks. Use promo code Upstate for $100 deposit match up to $100. I mean, if you want to get some live props going, prize picks definitely has you over there, and we'll definitely be covering it over on the Patreon.
For sure, man. Yeah, exciting time, man. I'm really excited to kind of see how everything plays out. It might be like a dead time of sports, but the news right now is popping. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not just kind of covering games. It's all news based right now. So we should have a lot of content over the course of these weeks for these Upstate Talks. It's been a fun ride, man. Appreciate going through the NBA season with all y'all. It's been really fun. And yeah, go check out the Patreon. Like Reoz said, man, we got a lot of stuff going over there. If we had to put a number on it, Reoz is like 80% in the month of March. I mean, in the month of June right now.
June, yeah.
For PGA, I mean for PGA and MLB, absolutely phenomenal, killing it over there. I did some UFC stuff. We made a post. I went 3-0 on UFC and some bets. So we got you covered over there. Only for $10 a month. Each of our picks are essentially paying 5 and 5. But we're about 30 minutes into this right now. I think we're gonna wrap this up. Riaz, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, definitely check out the Patreon. Patreon.com/upstate. Like Dal said, I've been locked in for MLB, no NBA. I've been doing just the majors for golf, but I am going to start doing weekly PGA over there. So, highly recommend. Everything's going to be linked in the description below. But we appreciate you guys watching. It's definitely like, comment, and subscribe. We love the support. Me and Dal love coming on here and just bullshitting with each other. So definitely want to do a Q&A. I definitely want to get questions from you guys. I think that'd be really exciting just to pick our brains, see how we look at lines, how we play. So we could do an episode on that. We could do a video or whatever, or a live stream. So let us know.
Okay, yeah, for sure, man. If you know, Q&A would be awesome. The way to sit here and answer questions and stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next podcast. Peace out.